very easy, but for the majority of people, that's not the case. I won't mention who, but somebody who has a reputable school, I asked the other day, I said, we were talking about a certain subject, which I'm being very vague here, but I said, you just asked me about somebody, I've given you my answer, because I could see it wasn't the answer that he wanted. I said, you've got a school. How many make it out of your school? And he went, about one out of about every 100. Actually make it.
Wow.
Right. There's a hell of a lot of people out there that, unless they can find a place to work, again, if you've got, it doesn't matter how you start, you can be, you know, people mention this thing, backyard wrestling. I was backyard wrestling on my own because there was no wrestling schools. I put 2 8x4 boards on 2 pieces of 2x2 and put a blanket over it. And once I'd started getting interested, that was on my dad's garden. And once they taught me how to take certain falls, I used to go home and do them on that, because it was a bit softer than doing it on the grass. If I'd have had a friend who wanted to wrestle, I'd have probably been backyard wrestling. So that's why I'm very open-minded to helping these people. Once I got along to meeting certain people, then you got taught and slowly got taught. That's why this thing I'm doing at the moment, this Blackpool Combat Club, it is a real thing to us that we want. You know, every young wrestler who gets to wrestle, anybody in there, is getting an education. He's getting probably 100 matches worth of if they were on with somebody who's not in that league, they're probably getting 100 matches worth of learning.
Education, yes, sir.
Education in one match, whether they know it or not. I hope that they know that, and go back and watch. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, it's because they're doing that. And then maybe come up to one of us after and say, could you explain how to do that to me? And there are people doing that, right? We want it to be a group of young, because there was a group in 2000 and a little bit before even, but the group that I met was in 2000, who needed they created their own wrestling world, because WWE or WWF at the time wasn't a thing for them. They didn't think they'd ever get there. And then that became Ring of Honor and everything that's come after it, or independent. You know, and there's people before that, you know, like Frankie Kazarian and Chris Daniels and that, they were doing their thing. They were figuring something out. There was a lot of those lads who were all figuring something out, but they were all they're all naturally they had skills, whether they know it or not. They were far better off than I was when I started when they first started. They were figuring their own world out.